means for you to check your work, I wanted to implement insert, and then the biggest thing is how do we create an object with a generic type? Okay, and so that's the most important, one of the most important things. And when I show it to you, it might look familiar, and so we will get into it. Insert is actually, the code is exactly the same, except you remember to create an array of a generic type, you have to do this annoying thing. So let's figure that out. So we can say, what are we gonna do? We're going to do, well, if we don't have to resize, it's bag array count equals target. Good, right? And then count equals count plus 1, okay? And then if we do have to resize, which means count equals bag array dot length, right? Well, then we have to do our for loop and copy it over to a new array. So let's first make a new array. And I'm gonna steal this and our hack to make a generic array. And instead of making a default bag size, I'm gonna make it bag array dot length times 2. Okay, and if that looks familiar, that's because it is familiar, right? Count I equals I plus 1. So we're gonna double the bag length every time we have to resize, and then when after we double the bag length, we have to go through and copy these things through. So temp I, or if you want to say it's array of t at I, ti. Hip hop fans out there? No, it's okay. Forget it. Forget it. There's one hip hop fan out there, and they're not thrilled about that. So temp I, ti, is being copied over to bag array, and then we do our shallow copy where we just say, all right, and now bag array is going to point to the same thing temp I is pointing to, right? So we're just going to behind the scenes do that, and that's our shallow copy, and the old bag array will be cleaned up. I think this is right. If it's not right, you should be screaming at your screens right now, but we'll find out pretty soon. There's also one more thing I wanted to do, and that is I'm going to do a toString down here, and you should probably too, so you could see if it worked, right, if you haven't already. So let's do that. I'm going to say string to return equals that. Okay, and then I'm going to say to return our favorite I equals 0, I is less than bag array dot length I equals I plus 1, and then to return plus equal. Okay, I'm just gonna do plus equals. So to return equals to return. So the old value of to return plus whatever happens to be at the bag at that particular index. Okay, plus a I don't know, a comma to space them out, and there'll be a comma at the end. I don't really care. This is just to test it. So that's the shorthand way of doing that. That's right, is to return plus equals. These are exactly what I'm writing here is exactly the same. These two things are functionally equivalent. Okay, so that sometimes if you see that, don't get thrown off by it. All right, I think that works, and then we're gonna return to return. Okay, so good. So we have everything. My timer just went off. Okay, I'm not starting my break just yet. And so now we can come in here and we can create an array bag of type integer. So that's how we specify what the type is. We put it in these little brackets in there, and when we do that, that integer will come in and be pasted in for all these t's. All right, big I integer. My bag equals new array bag, right? And we're just naming it array bag. In real life, we would just name it bag, and no one would know we used an array behind it. I'm inserting these values. I had this test code before. You could do some similar test code. And I'm making sure to insert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values so that we at least get one resize, and then let's print it out. So let's see if I have any errors here. We do not have any errors. Oh, you probably know what this problem is, right? It's not a problem, it's just that I went into the trash part of the partially filled array. So instead of going to count, I went to length in toString. So if we come back to toString, yep, sure enough, I went to length instead of count. So if you were screaming at your YouTube screen saying you messed this up, you should have gone to count instead of length, or count instead of length, that was a good thing to scream at your YouTube screen. If people are running in from other parts of your household right now being like, what's wrong? And you're screaming at your screen, that means you're doing it right. You're paying attention.